네, 이제 파워포인트 프레젠테이션을 시작할 차례인데요. 이 파워포인트 프레젠테이션은 네 가지로 나눠져 있습니다. 먼저 이제 아너스반의 막내격이죠. 이 초등학교 학생들로 이루어진 기초반과 이 초급반의 동아구연, 라이크 설립자 김인환 박사 자서전을 암기하여 발표하는 아너스 중급반, 그리고 다양한 사회 이슈를 발표할 아너스 고급반이 있는데요. 이 먼저 토플 기초반과 중급반에서 청소년 흡연, 중고교생의 과목 선택, 그리고 성적은 학생들 격려한다 등의 주제와 이 오늘의 에세이 주제였던 음식산업이 처벌받아야 하는가에 대해서 발표를 하도록 하겠습니다. 예, 오늘 토플반의 대본 작업과 파워포인트는 선생님의 지도와 함께 학생들이 직접 제작했습니다. 발표 순서는 팜플렛을 참고해 주시면 되고요. 오늘 심사는 황영학 대구대 명예 교수님께서 해주실 텐데요. 교수님께서는 응용 언어학 박사시고요. 또 미국 명예 시민이시기도 합니다. 그럼 우선 학생들의 발표에 앞서서요, 이 김미덕 원장님의 간단한 설명이 있도록 하겠습니다.
자, 그 토플반들, 그다음에 아너스반들 주목하시기 바랍니다. 일단은 아너스 프리, 비기너, 그리고 인터미디엇, 어드밴스 순서로 했고요. 그 팜플렛에 보면은 순서가 있으니까 그렇게 하셔야 됩니다. 발표 순서대로 옆에 보시면은 일단은 발표자, 그 다음 뒤 두 팀은 항상 대기하셔야 되겠고요. 그리고 학원에서 연습했던 것처럼 이쪽과 무대 왼쪽 오른쪽에서 발표를 하셔야 됩니다. 그래서 발표자는 화면 바깥에 쓰셔서 마이크를 들고 얘기를 하셔야 될 거고요. 마이크가 저희가 두 대를 드리니까 이쪽에서 얘기를 하고 또 이쪽에서 얘기하는데 문제가 없을 겁니다. 4명 이상이 되면, 2명 이상이 되면 서로 패스하시면 될 거고요. 발표를 하시고 이쪽으로 내려오실 때는 저희들 그 TS 선생님들이나 상담쌤에게 마이크 전달하시면 되겠습니다. 아시겠죠? 네. 파워포인트는 그 아너스반들은 저희가 다 넘겨드릴 거고요. 그 다음 토플 기초반, 초급반 같은 경우는 리모컨을 드릴 테니까 직접 넘기시면서 그렇게 운영하겠습니다. 자, 일단은 아너스 기초반부터 바로 시작하도록 하겠습니다.
네, 그러면 말씀하신 대로 이제 아너스 기초반부터 시작할 텐데요. 먼저 The Three Curling Brothers를 발표할 권민석, 이찬석 학생 무대 위로 올라와 주시고요. 이 다음 발표자인 오유진, 한소영은 무대 옆에서 대기하시면 될 것 같습니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
My name is Kwon Min-seok and his name is Lee Chan-seok.
Once there lived three young brothers. They did not get along very well. They quarreled with one another all the time. They quarreled about almost everything. As they grew older, their quarreling became worse. Their parents were worried. One day, their father thought a clever plan. He called his oldest son, "My dear child," he said, "I am going to send away your brothers in 1 month." This surprised the oldest boy very much. "I really?" asked the boy. "But why?" "Well, you don't like them, you hate them, you won't ever see them again." The old man told him, "So will you go to them from now on? Can you love them just for a month?"
With all my heart, the old man's oldest son agreed. The old man then called the other two sons and said, one after another. He told them the same thing and got the same promise from them too. For 1 month, there were no quarrels. The brothers got along very well. Each enjoyed life with his brothers for the first time. For a month later, the old man called each son and said, "I'm going to send your brothers away. I don't want to live with your brothers anymore when you don't like them." This time, each of the three sons said, "Please do not send my brothers away. I want them to stay here with me all the time."
네, 인사하시고요. 네, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 잘했습니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Han Soo-hee. Her name is Oh Yoo-jin. Long, long ago, there lived a clever farmer. One day, he went to a little town across a big river. He bought himself a hen, a lamb, and a fox at the market there. He started for home with the three animals late in the afternoon. He wanted to get home before dark. On the way back, he came to the big river again. He looked for a boat. There was only a small one on the river. It was much too small to take him and all the animals over to the other side at one time. It was just big enough to take himself and only one of the animals at a time. I can leave the fox with the lamb or with the hen. Foxes love to kill hens and lambs. The man said to himself. He thought and thought. Then he said, I have a fine idea. It will work beautifully. First he took the fox across the river. He left the fox on the other side and came back to lamb was on. Then he took the lamb over. He did not leave it with the fox. Instead, he left it there by itself and put the fox back in the boat. Now the lamb was on one side of the reef, the hen on the other, and the fox in the boat. He took the fox across the.
In this way, he brought all his animals
outside of the fox and put it out of the boat. Then he put the hen on the other side and left it with the lamb. But now the lamb was on one side of the reef. Finally, he went back to the other side to pick up the fox. Is this way he brought his animals across the river safely and got home before it was too dark.
예, 여러분 박수 부탁드리고요. 반갑습니다, 우리 친구들. 네, 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
My name is Im Ji-young.
My name is Park Young.
The rich man had one daughter. All the young men in the city wanted to marry her. The rich man did not want his daughter to marry anyone. He was frightened. When I die, he thought, will have all my money. My daughter will have all my money. Her husband may kill me to get my money.
Some young men
came to his house. Some young men came to his house. The rich man said, "You cannot marry my daughter. She is too young. She is not 21." On her 21st birthday, his daughter said, "Father, I want to be married. I'm going to find a husband." "No, you're not. No, you're not." Her father said. He took her hand and pulled her to the top of the house. He pushed her in a room and locked the door. "You will stay there," he said, "until all the young men in the town are married." The next day, he asked all the young men come to his house. "My daughter is lost," he said.
The man who finds
her may marry her. For several weeks, all the men looked for the girl, but they did not find her. "Perhaps she is dead," they said, and they stopped looking.
Several years passed. The young man married other girls. Only one of them did not find a wife. The rich man saw him and said, "Not married yet. Find yourself a wife, my friend. Be happy." Then he said, "My friend, I want you to be happy. Here is some money. Now you can get a wife. On your wedding day, I will give you more money. I will give you a house. Your marriage will be a happy one." The young man went home and thought about this for a long time. A few weeks later, he sent a message to the rich man. I am getting married tomorrow. Please come to my wedding. The rich man laughed happily and ran up to his daughter's room. You can come out now, he said. I am safe. They are all married. The next day, he went to the wedding. He took his daughter with him. All the people were surprised. They thought she was dead. The rich man walked up to the young man. Where is your bride? He asked. The young man smiled. There, he said, and took the daughter's hand. You have found her for me.
네, 수고하셨습니다. 박수 부탁드리고요. 네, 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, my name is Yu Yongjae. Most of you know Helen Keller, but do you know about Annie Sullivan? Helen Keller became deaf and blind when she was 19 months old. Because she could not hear, she could not learn to speak. Helen was like an animal in a dark, silent world. Yet she later learned to speak, read, and write. She even went to college. Annie Sullivan was the teacher who made this possible. Annie Sullivan was born in a poor family in 1866. She lost her parents when she was very young. She was sent to a home for orphanage. No one cared for her very much. One day, a group of people visited the orphanage. Sullivan came out to them and cried, "I want to go to school." Her words moved some kind people in the group, and they helped her go to school. When she grew up, she studied about teaching the deaf and blind. Do you know why? Because she was blind herself when she was a child. Later, she became a tutor for Helen Keller. If Helen Keller could learn to speak, read, and write because of Annie Sullivan. If Helen Keller was great, Annie Sullivan was greater.
여러분 박수 부탁드립니다.
Have you ever heard about Robert E. Peary? Peary was the first man that reached the North Pole. During the 9th century, many men tried to reach the North Pole. Most of them died in doing so. The rest had to turn back. Between 1898 and 1906, Peary tried 5 times to reach the North Pole. Each time he turned back because of ice, cold, and dust storms. On the first try, Peary's toes were hurt by cold. 8 of them had to be cut off. But when he lay in a hospital bed, he wrote on the wall, "I will find a way, I'll make one." On the 6th try, he succeeded.
예, 박수 부탁드립니다. 예, 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello everyone, my name is Bageri.
My name is Lee Hangyeol.
And my name is Kim Mi-so. A piece of paper. Some years ago, a young man wanted to leave his village and live in the city. Life is easy in the city, he thought. I should not have to work hard. The young man has no money to take with him to the city. So he went to see an old farmer. I'm going to the city, he said. Give me 2 sacks of rice. I will sell them in the city. Very well, said the old farmer, and gave him 2 sacks of rice. The young man went to the city and sold the sacks of rice, but he did not send the money to the old farmer. He spent it on clothes for himself instead. Many months later, the farmer came to the city and looked for the young man. He found the man standing outside a theater with some other lazy young men.
Where is my money for the sacks of rice? The old farmer cried. What money? The young man asked. I know nothing about any money or sacks of rice. And he went into the theater with his friends. The farmer was very angry and went to the police station. He told the police captain his story. I believe you, old man. The police captain said, I know this young man is always in trouble. We must try and get your money for you. He sent a policeman to the theater to bring the young man. The young man went into the theater and went to the police station. The captain said with a smile, "Hello, this foolish old man tells me you owe him some money."
I don't believe him.
I don't believe him. He picked up a piece of paper. The farmer says, you wrote on this piece of paper, "I owe you 2 sacks of rice," and then wrote your name. Is that true?
No.
No, said the young man. It is first. I did not write anything on a piece of paper.
I think the same. The captain said, "I think another man wrote this. It will be easy to find the truth." "I want to see your handwriting." He gave the young man a piece of paper and a pen and said, "Write on this piece of paper, I owe you 2 sacks of rice, and then put your name underneath." The young man laughed and wrote on the piece of paper. Then he handed it to the captain. "Good," the captain said. "Now give the money for his 2 sacks of rice." "What?" But the captain said, "It says on this piece of paper, I owe you 2 sacks of rice, and here is your name underneath."
예, 박수 부탁드립니다.
Hello, my name is Kim Dong-ha.
And my name is Nam Sang-gyun.
The doctor on night duty is writing his report. A tall man runs into the room. "There has been an accident." The tall man says, "I'll come at once," says the doctor. "How many people have been hurt?" asks the doctor. 4, perhaps more. The tall man answers. 4 people have been injured in the accident. The doctor phones for an ambulance. The doctor arrives at the accident. 2 cars have hit each other. The injured people are lying on the road. "Help the ambulance driver," says the doctor. "Yes, doctor," replies the tall man.
The doctor examines the injured people. Their injuries are serious. Will they live? The tall man asks. "We must take them to the hospital," says the doctor says. The doctor operates on the 4 patients. He works all night and some nurses assist him. "Aren't you tired?" one nurse asks. "Yes, but I'm nearly finished," replies the doctor. In the morning, the doctor talks to his patients. "They will all recover. How do you feel?" asks the doctor. "Much better, thank you," replies the patient.
네, 박수 부탁드립니다. 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jang Sung-wook. My story is Marathon. Marathon is the name of a small plain in Greece. It is about 40 kilometers northeast of Athens. Long ago, a Persian king sent a great many soldiers into Greece because he wanted to make Athens a part of Persia. A small number of Athenian soldiers met the Persian soldiers into Greece. Soldiers at Marathon and fought back. They fought and fought until they pushed the Persians back and won the fight. When the fight was over, the Athenian general thought of sending a soldier to Athens with the happy news. He told the soldiers about his idea. A soldier came up and said, "I want to go and tell our people that the victory is ours." The general told him that he could go. The soldier started running. He ran all the way from he ran all the way from Marathon to Athens without stopping. When he finally came to Athens, he shouted, "Be happy, the victory is ours." Then he fell to the ground and died. Today, the marathon race is the most important part of the Olympics. It first became so in the 1896 Olympics in Athens. It helps the world to remember the great work of that brave Athenian soldier.
예, 박수 부탁드립니다. 예, 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is 이채은, 신혜원,
이현지, 조민승.
Since my mother had to go to work early in the morning, we needed someone to do some of our household chores. Cooking, washing clothes, and cleaning our house. My mother decided to hire a part-time maid to come to work 3 times a week. 3 times a week. The women worked hard and did a good job, but something odd was happening. At the beginning of 1 month, the honey jar on our kitchen shelves was almost full. Strangely, every day the amount of honey went down a little more, and by the end of the month, the jar was nearly empty. My family and I had not eaten any of the honey. We thought someone else was eating it. Who or what? Was it the flies? No flies aren't smart enough to open a honey jar. Could it have been the puppies in the yard? I didn't think so. Dogs are smarter than flies, but they can't figure out how to open a honey jar. So who could it be? I thought the maid was the only possible suspect. We decided to catch her. When I was young, there were few markets in the village. Markets opened once every 5 days. Honey was regarded as a valuable commodity in my youth, because no one had much food at home. Our grandparents used to put a few spoonfuls of honey in warm water as a remedy for a bad cold or other sickness. However, the cost of honey was not the real issue. Our maid's honesty was our concern. I thought if she had stolen honey, she would take other things. My family and I were very proud of the souvenirs and valuables in our living room and bedrooms. Each of them held a fond memory for us of the places we visited and people we had met. If any of the articles disappeared, it would be a great loss. We needed to solve this problem right away.
We realized that if someone stole from us even once, something had to be done. Otherwise, it would become a habit, thinking that we had a thief in our house and chills down our spines. We had to stop the maid from doing it, so we confronted her and told her we were going to fire her if she didn't tell the truth. The maid said, "I didn't eat your honey, your family did." I said, "No, far from it. It's so ever since the honey supply started to go down, I told my family not even to touch the lid of the honey jar. You've been the only person allowed to come into our kitchen. I'm sure you're the one who has eaten or taken the honey." But she was as calm as ever and said, "I put it on the food I prepared for you. Honey is better for you than sugar."
So my family and I had eaten the honey after all when we didn't even realize it. The maid was no thief. She was doing us a favor. We misunderstood her and almost fired her for no reason. My family truly had made a big mistake. Ever since that time, when I am suspicious of others, I give them an opportunity to explain themselves. This small incident reminds me of an old Korean story. One day, King Iseong said to a great Buddhist monk, "I think that you are very handsome, but you look like a pig. What do I look like?" The monk said, "You look like a great Buddha."
Hearing this, the king denounced him and said, "How could you offer such flattering words to me when I severely insulted you? You must be a two-faced monk." The monk said calmly, "I swear that I did not flatter you at all. Your Majesty, our minds are like mirror. From the eyes of a pig, everything looks like a pig, but from the eyes of great men, everything looks great."
예, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 수고하셨고요.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Choi Sung-hyun and his name is Cho Hyuk-soo. During my 5th grade summer vacation, my brother and I went to Pohang Beach. On the train, we happened to sit opposite a German couple. At that time, I could not speak any English except hello and goodbye, and certainly no German. When they looked at me, I looked away. When our train was halfway to Pohang, I began to feel very hungry. I heard the vendor shouting, "Boiled eggs, fresh apples, peanuts, and rice snacks." I said to my brother, "Do you have any money? I'd like to have a few boiled eggs." My brother took out a 500 won coin and bought 4 eggs, so did the German couple. I ate 2 eggs and my brother ate the other 2. The German couple kept watching us as we ate them. When we finished eating the eggs, we stood up to shake off the piece of eggshells that had gotten on our clothes.
The German couple ate their eggs differently. They took out handkerchiefs and carefully spread them on their legs. Then they put the eggshells in the handkerchief, which they then put back into the woman's handbag. My brother and I were ashamed of the mess we had made. The Bergen couple didn't litter by throwing their garbage on the ground. They were more respectful of our country than we were. I asked my brother if we should move to seats where the German couple couldn't see us. My brother, who was older and more dark, said, "Everybody is watching us. Let's pick up the eggshells. We have to leave the place as it was." We began to pick up all the eggshells from the floor of the train. Since we did not have a handkerchief, we put them all in our pockets. When we cleaned up the place, the German couple clapped their hands, so did other passengers. Our faces turned red from embarrassment. Ever since that time, I have never thrown trash anywhere.
예, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 이제 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, my name is Baekyeji.
Hi, my name is Daeune.
My name is Choi Jung-eun.
My name is Park Se-ju.
What is your name? Who named you? Do you have any interesting stories about your name? One of my hobbies is raising puppies. The dogs are cute and are good friends of mine. All of them lived on an island watching over my tree and fish farms. When puppies were born, I gave a variety of names such as Dodo, Mimi, and Soso. Some Korean people give English names for their dogs like Tony or Mary, but I don't. They are Korean dogs. When 11 puppies were born, some of them grew to be adult dogs before even having a name. I didn't call them dog, but dokyu, 2 syllables, because that's what many Korean people call dogs, whether the animals are male or female.
I have 3 sons whose names are Hee Man-kim, Hee Dal-kim, and Hee Dak-kim. When my first son was born, I needed a name for him, but I didn't know how to choose the name for people, just the dogs. My mother suggested we go to who someone makes a living making names for people. I said, let's ask my uncle first and listen to what he has to say. When I asked him for a name, my uncle said, I've been thinking of a name ever since you got married. This morning, I went to see the brand new baby at the hospital. His name will be Hee Man-kim. He is the Chinese character, means shining, and Man means charming at the end. He may not be a great person from birth, but he is sure to become a successful person when he gets older. I had another thought about the name. I was reminded of two former of President of Korea, Lee the first President of Korea, and Park Chung-hee, the fifth President.
Years passed before we had another son. My mother tried to convince me that we should pay a famous name maker to choose a good name for my second son, but I called on my uncle and talked with him about the name. He said, I have been thinking about what name would be the best since you accept my name for your first son. Today at the hospital, a nurse showed me your second son, and I knew that he would be a very successful scholar. So his name will be Hidal, which means brightness and mastery.
However,
I didn't like the name. I was afraid that his friends would make fun of him because his name was in the title of a movie from that. Later, I interpreted that the name in my own way. That is Korean for moon. I hope that he would make the world bright just like the moon. 3 years later, our third baby was born. I went to see my uncle and asked him for a name. For the last 3 years, I have been trying to think one of letter out of 100,000 Chinese characters. I finally came to a decision, which is I didn't like the name because it sounded like stupid. I asked my uncle one of two other letters
that would sound.
They will some.
One of two other letters that would sound more.
One of two other letters. Two other letters. It sound more power. It would sound more powerful and vital than dog.
2 days later, my uncle broke his neck. He had slipped on the window of the public bathhouse as he was sleeping. I went to the hospital at night to look after him. At about 3 o'clock one morning, he said to me, "Ever since you asked me to select another Chinese character for your son, I've tried and tried. However, no word is better than dog, which means virtue. No matter how intelligent, rich, powerful, and white person may be, he can't succeed unless he shows virtue to others. A person should learn to give and help others. That is the definition of virtue." I was ashamed of having procrastinated in registering my son's name. For 6 months, he had lived without a name. Everybody called him Baby or Piggy Kim. The next day, I registered Hida Kim at the government office.
Thank you for listening.
네, 박수 부탁드립니다, 여러분.
A long time ago, it was dark in the north where the Inuit people lived. They thought it was dark everywhere until the old crow told them about the daylight he had seen on his long journeys. The more they heard about daylight, the more they wanted it. Please go and bring us daylight. The people begged the crow. So he landed into the air and flew east until the dim glow of daylight appeared in the distance. It became brighter and brighter until the whole sky was lit.
The exhausted bird landed in a tree beside the house of the village chief. He then turned himself into a speck of dust and blew it down into the ear of the chief's small grandson, who started to cry. "Why are you crying?" asked the chief. "Tell him you want to play with a ball of daylight," whispered the dust. The chief wanted his grandson to be happy, so he took out a ball of daylight and gave it to his grandson.
Immediately, the speck of dust turned back into the crow. He grasped the daylight from the child and flew into the sky, heading west until he reached the land of the Inuit again. From high in the air, he dropped the ball of daylight to the ground, and it shattered into tiny pieces, sending light everywhere. "Look, we can see for miles," everyone shouted. "Thank you, Crow. I could only carry one small ball of daylight," explained the crow. "We need to gain time to time, so you only have daylight for half of the year. And that is why the land of the Inuit, it is dark for the half of the year and light for the other half."
네, 박수 부탁드립니다. 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, my name is Chang Sang-won.
My name is Kim Na-young.
To understand this, let's start with sleep itself. We need to sleep so that our tired organs and tissues of the body will rest and be restored. It is believed that there is a sleep center in the brain that regulates the sleeping and waking of the body. The activity of our body throughout the day releases calcium into the blood. This stimulates the sleep center, causing it to do two things. First, it blocks a part of the brain so that we no longer have the will to do anything, and we no longer have consciousness.
We might call this brain sleep. Second, it blocks up certain nerves in the brain stem so that internal organs and our limbs fall asleep. Let us call this body sleep. Normally, these two actions or kinds of sleep are connected, but under certain conditions, they may be separated. The brain may sleep while the body is awake. Some people might get out of bed while their brain is asleep and walk about. Their brain and body sleep have become dissociated. They are sleepwalkers.
네, 박수 부탁드립니다.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Yu Jong-sun and his name is Choi Jae-yup. Alchemy in the Middle Ages was a mixture of science, philosophy, and mysticism. It was based on the belief that the matter is composed of four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. With the right combination of these elements, it was thought that any substance might be formed, including precious metals and limited to cure disease and prolong life. With the dreams of alchemists was to find the philosopher's stone, a mysterious substance that they believed could turn any metal into gold. Alchemy originated in ancient times, evolving independently in China, India, and Greece. In each of these places, the practice ultimately degenerated into superstition, but it migrated to Egypt and survived there as a scholarly discipline. In medieval Europe, alchemy was revived when 12th century scholars translated Arabic works into Latin. The rediscovered writings of Aristotle also played a role. By the end of the 13th century, it was discussed seriously by leading philosophers, scientists, and theologians. Eventually, the practice of alchemy laid the foundation for the development of chemistry as a scientific discipline.
네, 박수 부탁드립니다. 질문 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello everyone, my name is Choi Young-ah.
Ryu Da-jin and Park So-young. We'll talk about hikikomori.
Increasing number of teenagers in Japan cities are turning into murder hermits, never leaving their home. Known as hikikomori sufferers, these socially withdrawn people sometimes lock themselves in their rooms for months at a time. Dr. Tamaki Saito, Japan's leading hikikomori psychiatrist, has described this condition as an epidemic, which now claims more than 1 million suffer in their late teens and 20s.
According to Dr. Saito, most hikikomori sufferers are male, often the eldest son. The trigger is usually bullying at school, a broken romance, failure in getting a job, stress caused by study, or other frustrating experiences. Such people have extreme anthropophobia, isolating themselves from the outside world. Some of them inflict violence on their family members and even commit suicide.
Hikikomori sufferers live in reverse. They sleep all day, wake up in the evening, and stay up all night watching TV or surfing the internet. One recent TV program showed a young, socially withdrawn man in his 20s who hasn't left his room since graduating from high school 4 years ago. With waist long hair, he is just skin and bone as a result of living on instant noodles and snacks rather than normal meals. Thank you.
여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, my name is Yoon Min-young.
My name is Lee So-hyun.
Homeschooling. Children who are educated at home do not have enough chance to socialize. Also, parents cannot afford the same facilities that a school can. Students may have fewer friends and fewer educational opportunities. The main benefits of homeschooling are that students receive individual attention and learn about things in a supportive atmosphere. Although some governments make curriculum requirements, homeschoolers generally learn what they need when they need it.
Today's schools have serious problems because of drugs and violence. Homeschooling is a way for parents to protect their kids from all this. It also allows kids more freedom to develop their own individual creativity. From my point of view, even though homeschoolers receive more personal attention, I would prefer to be educated in a school rather than at home because I would have more social opportunities.
여러분 박수 부탁드립니다.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kim Sun-jung.
And my name is Chang Young-gil.
A recent study suggests that people in Mediterranean countries live longer because of their diet. Why are Mediterranean eating habits good for you? The first grade is the olive oil. Unlike oil made from animal fat, olive oil actually lowers cholesterol. As a result, there is a smaller risk of stroke and heart attack. Next, the Mediterranean diet includes lots of natural grain. Whole grain, bread, pastas and breads contain more nutrients than those made with white flour. Also, Mediterranean recipes often include those fresh fruit and vegetables as well as beans and peas.
These are high in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which can help you avoiding obesity, cancer, and heart disease. In addition, Mediterranean people typically eat little red meat, preferring fish instead. Fish is very healthy because it contains high level of omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals that are difficult to find in other foods. Following a Mediterranean diet in your own home could help to improve your family's health. It's not difficult to prepare, so why don't you try a Mediterranean dinner tonight?
네, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kim Dong-ho.
My name is Lee Ji-yoon.
And my name is Yoo Soo-min.
Wonpong was a kind peasant boy who lived with his widowed mother. He fished to support himself and his mother. One day he felt an enormous tug on his line. He struggled and finally landed a huge golden fish. The fish gasped, "Please let me go, and I will reward you." Wampum felt sorry for the creature and returned it to the water. In return, the fish gave him a magic pearl.
With the magic pearl, Wampum and his mother had all they needed. But the neighbor saw their prosperity and became very jealous. Determined to get the magic pearl, he grabbed the boy and began to shake him. Wampum had hidden the pearl in his mouth, and the shaking made him swallow it. Wampum fainted, and when he woke, he asked his mother for water. He drank and drank, but could not satisfy his thirst. Finally, he went down to the river where he caught the fish. It seemed as if he would drink the river dry.
As darkness came, a huge storm arose. Wampum's mother watched in horror as her son turned into a great dragon and flew away. She begged him not to go, but he called back, "I'm sorry, mother, I cannot stay." The dragon turned sadly and great tears fell from his eyes. This truth was from the 24 lakes of Sichuan province.
드립니다. 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kim Ho-young. Positive expectations. Sometimes high expectations can be hard to handle, especially when they come from our parents. Parents' expectations can be very difficult to ignore and tend to have a big influence on us regardless of whether they are positive or negative. Positive expectations may be means to encourage us, but they can also lead to a sense of never being good enough. Negative expectations, on the other hand, may be intended to motivate us to do something we are told we can't do. But the danger in this approach is that we are often left feeling insecure. At worst, some people may be left with a permanent sense of failure. So whether positive or negative, ultimately the problem with parental expectations is that they put us under pressure and make it hard for us to just be ourselves. If you don't feel bothered by your parents' expectations for you, then that's fine. But if you feel that you can't just ignore them, then there are a number of things you can do.
여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 시작해 주시면 됩니다.
Hello, my name is Shin-gaeul. Eating at the Blind Deco restaurant in Zurich is a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience. The restaurant's name is Blind Cow in English. It also refers to a common Swiss saying, as dark as the inside of a cow. The theme of the restaurant is total darkness. This was the idea of the Swiss Association for Blind People, with the aim of making people aware of the reality of being sight disabled. Guests are greeted in the lobby and all their belongings, including cell phones and illuminated watches, are stored in lockers. The menu is displayed in the lobby for guests to order there, and then each group is led through a tunnel by a waitress who is herself blind to a table. Eating is tricky but fun, and using your fingers to locate all the food is the best solution. Nobody will complain about your manners as no one can see you.
예, 감사합니다. 박수 부탁드리고요. 예.
Hello everyone, my name is Kwon Min-young. I will talk about Pablo Picasso. Normally, 1 month was allowed to complete the necessary drawings for the examination. Picasso finished them all in a day. When he was 16, he was admitted with honors to the Royal Academy of Madrid. There were no more academic tests left for him to take. While still a young adolescent, he had already become a better artist than his father and exhausted the educational possibilities of his country, Spain. Thank you.
예, 박수 부탁드립니다.
Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and my friends. We are Team Teletubbies. Today, we are going to give you a presentation on the dangers of teenage smoking. Our team members are second speaker Pin-su, third speaker Idayan, fourth speaker Kim Se-yoon, fifth speaker Kim Min-ju, and I am the team leader Lee Yu-jung. I am going to talk about Korea and other countries. Second speaker Pin-su is going to talk about reasons for teenage smoking. Idayan is going to talk about mental problems. Kim Se-yoon is going to talk about physical problems. Finally, the fifth speaker, Kim Min-ju, is going to talk about solutions. Nowadays, the teenagers are smoking more than ever. It is a very serious problem. Already over 27.6% of Korean teenagers are smoking. This figure alarms us with the fact that there are almost 2 times more Korean teenagers smoking compared to teenage smokers of other countries, while the population is not only half as much. This graph rates of teenage smoking more than ever.
According to the 2006 survey by Korean Association of Smoking and Health Survey, 26% of male high school students experience smoking. This survey also explained that the first reason why most teenagers smoke is because of their curiosity. The second reason is because they want to join peer groups. Some of them even start because they force them to do. And the other reason is their family. By observing their parents smoke and by having cigarette at home, children most likely would try smoking. We must understand that this trend is not happening only in Korea. This is a global trend.
There are 2 problems in teenage smoking. First is mental problems and the other is physical problems. Let's talk about the mental problems first. According to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, most teenagers smoke because they get curious. It is more serious if they have smokers in their family or in peer groups, especially since teenagers tend to follow what their friends do. Therefore, increasing numbers of smokers around teenagers can tremendously multiply smokers. Second, smoking can change the characteristics to be rebellious and cynical. Most of their entourage would always tell them smoking is bad. In fact, they get depression and conflict. It can get rid of stress and despair. The last one is quite serious. The ability related to judge and behave wisely may deteriorate. There are dangerous chemicals in cigarettes such as nicotine, tar, and carbon monoxide. Smokers often have blurred judgment and often cannot move on their will.
As mentioned earlier, cigarette contains lots of dangerous chemicals such as carbon monoxide, nicotine, tar. So when teenagers smoke, they will get serious diseases such as lung cancer, oral cancer, respiratory disease, and let's talk about these chemicals and what kinds of disease they cause. First, tar is one of the carcinogens that cause lung cancer. Tar goes directly to lung and clog in the surface of the lung, and it makes cell malformation. Then it develops into lung cancer. The next chemical is nicotine. It came from Nicotiana tabacum plant. It causes hypertension and raises the blood pressure. Also, it increases cholesterol and degradative illness. Lastly, carbon monoxide is a gas made when carbon dioxide exists in the high temperature. This gas causes headache, dizziness, and even vomit.
Therefore, if we create an environment,
There are several ways to prevent.
There are several ways to prevent teenage smoking. First is by keeping your family away from smoking. If parents don't smoke, their children will most likely choose not to smoke as well. Teenage smoking can bring so many problems. If parents can save money and healthy by not smoking and keep their families out of trouble, they will surely keep healthy homes. Second is to create an environment
where teenagers can reach out for help. For adults, there are many places where they can fight their addiction. However, such factories seldom exist for children. Moreover, children are usually afraid to let news of their addiction. Last but not least, anti-smoking campaigns should be carried out of trouble to develop strengthen teenagers' awareness. If children run and see video and pictures, they will pictures. What about cigarettes do to people? They will probably choose not to smoke. Thank you for your kind attention.
여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 청소년 흡연의 문제점과 해결방안에 대해서 얘기해 줬는데요.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and my friend. We are Team Baby Jesus and Three Magi. Today we are going to give you a presentation on how good grades encourage students to study. Our team members are first speaker Kim Bom-soo, and second speaker Yu Jung-gi, and third speaker Park Ju-young, and I am the team leader Ban Hyun-tae. Our contents are first overview, second drops and grade, third advantage, and lastly conclusion.
Our team agrees with the topic that grades encourage students to study. There are 3 reasons we arranged it. First, we can know our strengths and weaknesses. We can find our talent and potential too. Second, grades are important that we can determine our own characteristics. Third, good grades allow people to enter prestigious colleges that they wish to improve their grades.
Second, if students are graded, they will be able to know their strengths and weaknesses. For example, if a student gets an A in English and F in math, even though he has spent the same amount of time, he may conclude that English is his forte. This will allow the student to concentrate and work hard on his forte English, while encourage students to feel okay even when he has done poorly on his math test. Moreover, realizing a student's talent or potential will motivate him to learn more, since grades are mostly quantifiable and it is human nature to improve.
Nowadays, many students agree that grades are very important. Good grades allow people to enter prestigious universities and get a respectable job and live a good life. Therefore, we may conclude a good life theme from good grades, and this is why so many students study hard to achieve good grades. For this reason, we agree that grades encourage students to study. Another reason why grades are so important is because grades often become the surest way to determine a person's character. Although first impression is important, people usually make important decisions through a person's capabilities. School grades are usually the longest record of a person's performance. Through this, companies and schools can take a glimpse on that person's character as well.
In conclusion, our team agrees with this topic. First of all, students have to set goals for their lives. If they do not have goals, they will not study to achieve what they want. To achieve their goals, students have to start from completing small goals step by step. Getting into prestigious universities such as Ivy League College is considered to be one of the best ways to be successful today. If you attend a famous university, you are most likely a promising student. However, the problem is that a prestigious university is not for everyone. In order to distinguish the student with a great academic capabilities from ordinary student, a standard measure is necessary and grades are the best. Moreover, a student with a poor grade will study hard because he will wish to improve his grade, and a student with a good grade will study hard to maintain his grade. Therefore, a system of grade is a grade system to which treats people fairly and motivates students to study hard competitively. Thank you for your kind attention.
네, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 이 평가 제도가 주는 학생에게 주는 긍정적인 효과에 대해서 말을 해줬고요.
Nice to meet you all. Our team is the Little Giants. We are here to give you a speech whether secondary school students should be allowed to choose their own curriculum. In college, students chose their major and concentrate on it. Like this, we believe that secondary school students should be also allowed to choose their own curriculum for several reasons. First we'll introduce you to our team. Our first speaker is Im Hyun-wook, and the second speaker is Chang An-yong. They will speak about the reason why we want to choose their own, the reason why we want to allow
the secondary
school
to choose
their own
curriculum.
Finally, the last speaker is Kim Sang-jun, and I'm the leader of the team. My name is So-hee.
First, if students are allowed to choose their own curriculum, they will be more interested in studying. This is because students can study the subject that reflect their aptitudes. For example, if I can choose my courses, I will choose to take heavier loads of Korean classes because I am good at it and I would like to improve my understanding of the Korean language, which I consider very seriously to be my major. According to this, learning will be much more interesting and I will be motivated to study more.
As you can see from this pie graph, 67 students out of 100 students want to study more autonomously, while the others don't want to. There are twice as many students who want to study autonomously than who don't study in that way. That means students are most likely to study autonomously. Secondly, if secondary school students are allowed to choose their own curriculum, they would be able to know how to manage their time efficiently. For example, students can choose when to take a rest between classes. Second example, when I had a chance to go to the English village, I would allow to choose my own curriculum. If students start managing schedule of studying from the early age, it would be easy for them to adjust to college life, which allows students to choose their own curriculum.
In conclusion, although school teachers want to decide what subjects students will take, students should have the right to choose what they want to study. So students should decide their own subjects. In addition, students' preferences are different. For example, John likes math, Sally likes English, and Andy likes science. When they study what they like, learning will be more interesting and students will study autonomously. Finally, every student has different time schedules. By letting students choose their classes, students can use their time efficiently. Therefore, students should decide their own subjects and time.
네, 수고하셨습니다. 박수 부탁드릴게요.
Hello, our team name is Voice Generation. We have 6 members. First, I'm leader of team Lee Chang-ho. First speaker is Jang Yong-jun. Second speaker is Park Sung-won. Third speaker is Lee Do-hoon. Fourth speaker is Kim Sang-hyuk. And the last speaker is Kim Seok-ha. We have some contents. First speaker to thus overview, and second speaker problem, third speaker interview, fourth speaker average chart, and the last speaker is solution, and I'm conclusion. Now we are going to start.
I would like to discuss about frauds of food companies. Nowadays, people are eating unhealthy foods. Food companies put ingredients without caring about consumers' health. They just try to save money and make more profits. For example, recently, I bought some chips and it was half empty. Moreover, food companies are selfish. People don't know if they're eating unhealthy foods. People need to know what they're eating and what ingredients of the food have. For instance, junk food's ingredients have sweeteners, colorings, preservatives, and other chemical additives. There are approximately 20 species included. From now on, we're going to talk more about this problem.
Nowadays, many food companies either put ingredients that they are harmful to people because it is cheaper than using proper ingredients, or they don't put ingredients that they indicated on their food label to make more profit. Food is related to people's health. If food company put ingredients that is better to people, it can cause damages to many people. In addition, they don't put ingredients that they write on their label. It is the same as violating law. For example, lately, TV program 불만제로 broadcasted about children's vitamins. Many people are surprised when they realize the fact that most vitamins in the market consist mostly of sugar. In addition, they put synthetic flavoring to attract children too. The most important fact is we can buy these problematical vitamins in the pharmacies. Many parents trust pharmacies, so they buy these vitamins and give it to their children. However, they are very furious when they know about these problematical vitamins. These are kind of candies. This information is right on label that is attached on the back of vitamin case. However, many people miss this information because it does not catch people's concern. So we need proper solution in no time to eat proper food.
질문들 읽어줘야 돼. 소리가 지금 질문을 읽어줘야 되는데.
Have you eaten low quality foods recently? How did it affect on your body? What do you think about companies selling those low quality foods? I did interview with Professor Kim. I asked several questions to him. Firstly, have you eaten low quality foods recently? Secondly, what kind of effect did it have on you? Finally, what do you think about companies selling those low quality foods? He answered to me, he ate low quality foods recently, and the food tasted good. Also, it was cheap, so he was happy. But soon he became very tired.
Thought about?
So he thought about companies selling those low quality foods. He believed it because people always demand low quality foods, low price of products.
Look at this chart. The Korean average health age is lower than other countries, such as US and Japan. The main reason is that our eating habit is wrong. People eat fast foods, also unhealthy foods, even with additives. Food additives are the main ingredient that cause negative effect. Melamine is one of the food additives. We already had experienced melamine situation. Melamine situation is one of melamine contained in powdered formula. Babies drank the powdered formula and it was very harmful for babies. This situation due to immoral conduct of the company, they have to be awakened urgently.
The problem is that companies try to save money, so they use low-quality additives. Therefore, the product quality is low. But we need to eat to live, so unavoidably, we need to buy low-quality products. The solution for this problem is that we should give powerful warnings to the companies to force them make high-quality products. For example, protest strongly to the companies. Dietary habit is very important factor for our life. We need improved dietary habit. Therefore, the food companies must improve citizens' dietary habit.
가만히 놔두면 된다. Our team agrees with the topic. The topic is the food companies must improve the quality of food for customers. In overview, first speaker has shown how many companies use low quality ingredients when producing food products simply to make high profit. Second speaker has indicated how much low quality food can do harmful effects to public's health. For example, the children's vitamin candies do not have enough vitamins as much as mentioned in the ingredient chart. This is also broadcasted by TV program. Zero complaint, 불만 zero. And for the interview, the third speaker has interviewed Mr. Kim Il-duk. After interview, the chart was introduced. According to it, our country's health age is lower than other countries due to harmful food provided to the children. Last speaker gave a solution for this. He has shown how our daily lives are deeply connected to food. So, therefore, food companies must improve the quality of food for customers. Thank you for Thank you for listening our presentation.
여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 예.
Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and my friends. We're Team 63. We're going to give you a presentation on why should food industry be penalized. Our team members are first speaker 배수진, and second speaker 육나해. And I'm the team leader, 엄니슬. First, we're going to talk about how ordinary people perceive our food culture. Second, we'll talk about the rate of sick people and preferred food of students. Third, we'll talk about the problems of food industry, and the last, we'll talk about the solution.
People usually think we will be able to treat all kinds of disease by our unlimited technology in the future. But as time passed, more severe diseases are appearing in society and threatening our lives. Do you know why diseases are increasing steadily? The reason is wrong eating habits. One of middle school class, 60% of students prefer to eat chicken burger sets rather than Korean food. Like this, modern people prefer to eat junk foods. When people eat junk foods, harmful ingredients from the food cause the imbalance of the body. For example, Morgan Spurlock's precise me. Many people try to do the same, however, some of them died from malnutrition. This burger is 560 calories. Still, various junk food companies make this kind of calorie bomb just to make their profits. Therefore, food industry should be penalized.
The first problem of this food industry is they always lie about their ingredients. For example, like juice, the company says that they use fresh oranges. In fact, they use compound and mixing ingredients. However, people believe them and buy fake orange juice. These problems make many diseases such as obesity, grown-up disease, and diabetes and hypertension. Obesity is one of the worst diseases in the world, especially in USA. 4 people who have obesity die every 20 minutes, and this is a very serious problem in America. For example, Jamie Oliver, a famous cook and social activist, featured a 150 kilogram 12-year-old girl and a 700 kilogram a 30-year-old man on his show. Although the main cause of this disease comes from being heavily dependent on parents because they don't teach how to cook to their children, and food industry is not doing anything that will help or improve this trend. And here are some solutions of these problems. First, we must consume moderate the quantity of foods. Obesity occurs when we eat more than we need. And second, we ought to read food ingredients more carefully. Harmful ingredients can cause very serious disease, and we don't have to spend extravagant much money to buy unhealthy fast foods. And finally, we must exercise to improve our health and prevent obesity.
We may think we are living healthier because of the development of technology. However, contrary to this belief, we are now living in a shorter life expectancy and poorer health. The main cause of this is the unhealthy food. There is a proverb: don't play with your food. However, many food companies play with our food. They choose not to use decent ingredients, even they know they should. They put all sorts of additives and extra ingredients.
Therefore, people who buy those food get very incurable disease like diabetes or obesity. It's a very irony. I thought that people eat food to get energy themselves and survive. However, nowadays, food will bring you to death, the grave. Thank you for your kind attention.
네, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 네.
Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and parents. Our group's name is 4Gs and 1 Jury. Our members are Yang Ji-hoon, the leader of this team, Liu Jun, Kim Ji-hoon, Baek Ji-hoon, and Jung Hyung-jun. Our contents are first, overview by Liu Jun, second, interview by Kim Ji-hoon, third, survey by Baek Ji-hoon, fourth, solution by Jung Hyung-jun, and lastly, conclusion by Yang Ji-hoon.
Nowadays, the food quality is getting lower and lower, and it causes food poison, terrible stomachache, diabetes, high blood pressure, and some cancers. It is caused by food companies using bad ingredients. Food companies are already recognized that they should not use bad ingredients. However, they don't care of this. Most people think that food companies are already taking care about this and have to improve food quality for customers. But we disagree with this opinion. That means we think that government controls this happening and food companies obey the law.
This is an interview recorded by Moon Chang-jin, the director of KFDA, Korean Food and Drug Administration.
Hello, this is Lee Jung-soo.
Hello, this is Moon Chang-jin.
Recently, people's interest in the quality of food has grown rapidly. Thus, the responsibility of KFDA, which takes care of all kinds of food, has been tremendous. I would like to hear about KFDA's general direction of food management.
The expectation for the quality of food is very high these days. KFDA is trying to satisfy it through establishing the food safety supervision system.
Korea imports lots of food. However, governments do not have power to put a rigorous control over. It is a known fact that foreign food companies add preservatives and additives. Moreover, they sometimes even use chemicals that are harmful to us just to keep look fresh. Such practice is immoral, and we must control this as soon as possible. And you can see this graph. Korea imports lots of food, and most of imported foods are processed, additive container food. And agriculture products are safety also. Some agriculture products are GMO. As you know, these kinds of foods are bad for our health.
Then we have to make stronger law to prevent food poisoning. Because the government's management is insufficient. Many food companies try to use lab food to cook to save money, and they didn't consider much about hygiene. So government should check the food companies or restaurants whether it is hygienic or not, and punish like increasing taxes to food companies whether it is which are unhygienic. Also, then company will use money to keep the food hygienic, and the spending will increase constantly. So government should award the companies or restaurant which are unhygienic for a certain period to lessen the monetary burden. Making an organization instead of doing this task is efficient. For example, Korea Food and Drug Administration, or KFDA, is the best model of it. In addition, education ministries have to educate staffs and managers of a right way of making food and punishment if food companies break the law.
In conclusion, government has to restrict the food quality by laws. As you know, companies' goal is to make more profit, not making the best quality of food. So if government doesn't restrict the food quality by laws, companies are going to make low quality food a lot and make more profit. Then we will be unhealthy. These are the reasons why we suggest government to restrict the food quality. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation.
네, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 네.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are Hida's girls. We are going to talk about why food industry should be penalized. The first speaker, Ju Sojin, will talk about overview. The second speaker, Song Hyun-ji, will talk about survey. The third speaker, Oh Jung-eun, will talk about problems. The fourth speaker, Kim Na-young, will talk about solutions. And I'm the leader of this team, Lee Yoo-seung, and I will talk about the conclusion.
Nowadays, many companies produce many food products. Thanks to this, we can eat many kinds of food. But there are some problems. The problem is that they make food no matter how bad their food producing procedures are. They just think about their profit. Because of these unhealthy practices, many people are threatened by low-quality food which are produced in bad environment. So our team will discuss about this topic, that the food industry should be penalized for promoting bad habits and be held responsible for improving the quality and awareness of food products.
Data from KFDA, the basic progress of Korea has increased almost twice more than the situation in 10 years ago. As you see in the table above, the basic progress has been increasing continuously. It can be found in all ages. According to the expert of child obesity, the reason of this obesity is mostly due to unbalance of consumption. And he also added that the best way to maintain the balance in calorie consumption, you should eat low-fat, grilled and steamed food instead of fried and sweet food. Since we eat lots of processed food, which is sweet and greasy, so that may increase in obesity people, food industry should take the lead of creating healthy food.
First of all, there are many things to be improved in foods now. Food companies should concern consumers' health and investigate their money to improve their foods when they sell their products. In the junk food, there are many ingredients that children shouldn't eat, like fat and chemical additives. For example, in Chocojaba, there is 79% of fat. Secondly, the influences of bad quality foods are huge. For instance, there are a lot of chemical additives in ramyeon. Ramyeon has antiseptic that has carcinogens, so it can cause the central nerve paralysis, and luckily these food additions are controlled by KFDA, but it is not strong enough to control the food companies, so we have to control ourselves not to eat much. All in all, since food companies don't take responsibilities for their practices, we think food companies should be penalized.
Nowadays, there are many fast foods with stimulating additives. These fast foods attract people. I'll discuss how we may be able to keep this delicious food while improving their quality. First, we have to put heavier burden and punishment to those who irresponsibly create food products. Hamburgers, for example, they get sprayed with perfumes that are designed to make burgers as if it had been grilled. Not only that, they also spray a color former to keep hamburgers fresh. In fact, the food companies do the same for grilled marks in hams. I believe this problem can be solved very easily by creating laws preventing people from additives and chemicals. Our food will not be as pretty, but it will definitively be healthier.
In conclusion, we are more interested in our food than ever. Food industry have responsibility to improve the quality of food because they made it. So from now, food industry should improve the quality of food and find ways to improve people's health. People have made lots of arguments about the quality of food. One of the most controversial arguments in recent past is the snacks that contain melamine. We have a right to assert our demands. However, low-quality food infringe our rights. This is the first reason why food industry should be penalized. For the second reason, low-quality food worsens people's health. Food industry advertise their food as a good one. For example, cornflakes are advertised that it raises children's confidence. However, almost 50% of cornflakes is sugar. It also increases the rate of development of diabetes and gastroenteropathy, etc. Almost all people depend their eating habits and nutritive conditions on food industry. Therefore, food industry have a duty to answer for whole people's health. In conclusion, food industry should be penalized. Thank you for your kind attention.
네, 여러분 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 이렇게 해서 마지막 PPT 발표까지 들어봤고요. 저희가